Chapter on meditation. In the heartfulness way, we sit comfortably every day at a fixed time and place and meditate on the presence of divine light in the heart. For me, the meditation is a daily source of clarity, lightness, inspiration, and palpable inner joy. Now, when you feel all these, then nobody needs to tell you that you have to meditate. You'll do it yourself, right? When you have clarity, when you have inspiration, when you get lightness and joy, why will you not meditate? Even though I have meditated in this manner nearly every day for 15 years, my discussion with Daji opened new dimensions in my understanding and yielded profound advances in my practice. So, this is Joshua Palak now talking about when and where to meditate. When I first started heartfulness, I meditated wherever and whenever I wanted. At that time, I attached no significance to the time or place of meditation. Later on, when my life became more hectic, I started scheduling meditation into my day. The differences between meditating on random times versus meditating at a fixed hour were striking. Shortly thereafter, I had to move my meditation to the early morning hours. Then my meditation practice really took off. So, this is generally what happens. So, people sit and meditate whenever they feel like to start with. Then, over a period of time, they kind of streamline it, but not necessarily to early morning. Then, in the end, they'll feel that this is the best time to do because that will be done in the morning, and then after that, they can carry on with their routine. So it happens naturally that ultimately most of the people will settle for early morning. Now, years later, I hope that Dachi would explain the reasons behind these experiences. See, again, Joshua Palak, like every other Abhyasi, is looking for explanation behind the experience. He's experienced certain things, but he is not sure what is the explanation behind the experience. Right? Now, this is an art in itself. How to correctly interpret the experiences that we have in meditation. Okay. Now there is one point of view which says, don't go behind any experience. Let any experience come and you just go on doing the journey. That's one way. You basically take note of this. Some people they don't even take note of the experience. They just sit, close their eyes for half an hour and go. There are other people who actually close their eyes, take note of the experience, write it in diary, and then forget it. There are other people who pick up some experiences. They kind of scratch their head regarding what these experiences mean because they want to learn the science behind the experience. There are other people who actually pick up the experiences, go to the minutest of details, and then really want to grasp the essence of the reason behind the experience. Now, all four perspectives are valid in their own way. You cannot say any one is 100% correct, any one is 100% wrong. Each one is very much valid. Even for a person who does not want to go behind an experience in meditation, if they have some profound experience, naturally the curiosity arises in the mind. What does this experience mean? There are some people who go behind the experiences of the dreams. So I had a dream like this. So what does it mean? So this natural curiosity behind the experience has been there throughout. And I don't think that is likely to go away going forward as well. It will be there. So I think we just need to not overdo in terms of interpreting the experience, not underdo also, that we disregard every experience. I think somewhere a balance needs to be kind of struck. Remember, the experience in the meditation is giving a clue to your internal world. It's a clue. Like the dreams are a clue to the internal world. So, if we can correctly grasp the significance of it, of course, it can be a major motivator for us to go further in meditation and spirituality. Of course, if there are wrong interpretations, then that can also cause problem. So that's the reason why the more we grasp the subject, the more it becomes easier to really understand what is going on. Okay. Now that is where studying spiritual literature in depth, like spiritual anatomy or Babaji's complete works, 6 volumes, Lalaji's various volumes, all of these actually gives you a clue to some of the things behind the experience. That will help you to develop a reasonably good interpretive capability. But as I said, there are a lot of people who also think that there is no need for the interpretation of the experience of meditation. That is also valid from one particular perspective. So, for example, if your journey is to stabilize in that state, which is beyond the experiencer, the experienced, and the act of experiencing, then what's the point of interpreting the experience? Right? So, from that particular perspective, it appears valid. But if you look at it from a slightly different perspective, we have not reached there. I think maybe once you have reached there, then it hardly matters. But till you reach there, you still have to struggle. It's like saying, anyway, after becoming an adult and going to the job, I hardly use mathematics in life. So why should I study mathematics in school at all? School and college, right? Now, if Daji had given the example of asymptote, now you tell me how many people remember that example of asymptote? Very few people. So the point is, there are many things that we learn in depth, but we might not necessarily utilize them in due course of time. But without our knowledge, those learnings actually play a part in our life, right? See, on a day-to-day basis, you will do addition, subtraction, so many functions of the mathematics you will do anyway, whether you like it or not. But you might not doing saying that I'm doing maths now. Suppose you go and buy a vegetable, so some vegetables, and then you have to pay the price at the till. Of course, now everything is automated. Even the person, the cashier, doesn't know how to add or subtract. We used to have this problem in the UK where many of these cashiers, no, they are so weak in maths. We Indians are pretty lucky in that sense. We are pretty strong in maths. They are very weak. So that's why there is a separate a disorder in psychiatry. It's called as special learning disability and in maths. So this is special disorder. We find it very amusing. Eh? Why are they struggling only in maths? And they have also linked out the genes also related to that. SLD of maths, and this is the gene involved. But for that, for us, it finds a bit unusual because we are used to doing maths left, right, center all the time. So the calculations are already there in the background, even when you go just to pay the till for whatever you have purchased. So what I mean to say is, maths is kind of entwined in our life at all stages, right? If somebody wants to build a building, the civil engineer will use maths only for every calculation. The architect uses maths only for all the calculations that they do. So there are, you cannot say that it's not there. It is already there, part of your life. Likewise, experiences are part of life. Now, which of the experiences that you will actually utilize to actually grasp what is going on inside is an art that you will pick up over a period of time. There's an artistic element to it, there is a scientific element to it. Okay. Now, we might also say, if Babuji says that behind every experience there is a reason, behind every state there is a reason, then obviously behind every experience that you pass through in meditation, there probably is a reason. Now, we might know or we might not know. Okay. But what generally happens, I'll tell you the catch. When we start interpreting the experiences too deeply, rather than allowing the mind to keep quiet, we are now making the mind more active. That is a catch. Why are we meditating? We are meditating to make the mind quieter. We want to go beyond the realm of the mind. That's why we are meditating. Now, if you go behind the experience in meditation and make the mind more active, then where is the question of meditative state? Meditative state is allowing the mind to go beyond the subtle body and settle somewhere inside, somewhere beyond. That being the case, the more active we make the mind, the more you cannot go beyond the realm of the mind. So, from that perspective, over-interpretation can cause problems. Okay, so that will be like just because we said maths is everywhere, you will say that I'm going to start looking for where is maths in every way, in every experience that I have in life. Now that will be an overuse of mathematics. Then you will miss the fun of life itself because you are behind mathematics, right? So that's why when people are behind like this mathematics, we say that they are very kind of concrete in nature. Okay, so balancing these two again, moderation actually helps because there are some profound experiences that requires interpretation. What is the reason behind it? And that's what Joseph Pollock is behind. What is the best time for meditation? I asked. Now he said. Okay, but are certain times better than others? I asked. Is there a bad time for meditation? He replied. You know, I'm reluctant to make any pronouncement on this matter. I don't want to create any dogma on the subject. To do so would deprive people of the joy that comes with discovering the truth on their own. I understand that, I said, but I think that we could benefit from knowing some best practices. Okay, boss, he said with a laugh. Well, our elders have passed down so much wisdom regarding meditation timings. But I am a practical person, so I say that you should meditate at the time when you are least likely to be disturbed. Please underline this. You meditate at a time when you are least likely to be disturbed. Now, in this busy world, it may not always be possible to meditate at the most ideal time. You see, there are numerous household activities like raising children, going to work, etc. So many demands are present, so we have to choose our time carefully. One solution is to meditate early in the morning when there aren't so many things competing for your time and attention. But if you like it, you will do it no matter what. So if you once start liking meditation, you will do it anyway. You see, so once you start liking meditation, then you will anyway do it. So till that time, you need to have some kind of a time. And the criteria that Daji is saying is when you are least likely to be disturbed. You are a sincere meditator. You see, a sincere meditator will never say, oh, it is not convenient for me to meditate today. Suppose you tell me your friend, if I will only meet you when it's convenient for me. That means your convenience is more important to you than your friendship. Meditation is another kind of meeting. It's a sacred meeting with the self, which is our friend within. Please underline that. Meditation is a meeting with the self inside, which is our friend. But still, people are so busy these days. I said, many tell me that they have no time for meditation. I am reminded of one incident, said Daji. Once a senior minister in the Indian government came to meet Babuji. This official was interested in meditation but said that he had no time for it. Babuji responded by asking him whether anyone is busier than him. Yes, he said. The Prime Minister is busier. At that time, Prime Minister was Indira Gandhi. Babuji replied, then give me the difference between her busyness and your busyness and devote that time to meditation. So, good answer, no? So, you can all use this technique to anybody who says, I have no time for meditation. If meditation had really been a priority, he would not have complained about how busy he was. He would have simply made the time. By contrast, the woman who taught me to meditate was immensely passionate about meditation. She faced a lot of opposition from her family, though. Intense opposition. So, how did she handle it? Every day she would wake up before everyone else and meditated in bed while pretending to be asleep. Sometimes she pretended to use the bathroom and meditated there. Her life revolved around meditation. You see, if you are passionate about something, you will always find a way. As the saying goes, love laughs at locksmith. I have not heard about this particular saying a lot. Maybe this is something that's there in the American culture. So we have not heard much in the British culture. This one, love laughs at locksmiths, because a lock cannot prevent love penetrating. Love opens every lock. So since love has the capability to open every lock, where is the role for locksmith? That's why he's saying that love laughs at locksmiths. Busy people should also understand that meditation provides many shortcuts in lives. This is another thing. It provides shortcuts. Often we invest a lot of time and energy in various endeavors. Sometimes they come to fruition and other times they do not. For example, someone holds a romantic interest for years, but eventually the other person backs off. Or you may spend a lot of time trying to build a business relationship, but it proves fruitless in the end. Wouldn't it have been better to understand the reality of these situations from the very start? Meditation provides a level of insight that allows us to appreciate situations for what they actually are. Hence, they can save us years of time. So, you're getting into a relationship. If you get a feeling that this is not going to work out, you can stop investing in that relationship. You are getting into business relationship. There again, if you know that this is unlikely to work out in due course, if you can get that insight early, then it is going to save you a lot of time in life, right? Otherwise, you will not be running behind things which are not going to work out in the future. Therefore, meditation is an enormous time saver. I will even say the less time you have, the more vital meditation becomes. In other words, if they have less time, they are very busy. If they are busy, they have to take quick decisions. And meditation helps them in avoiding wasting time in doing things which might not yield results. In other words, your meditation actually helps you to become goal oriented or result oriented. If you can meditate even for 5 minutes at a fixed time every day, it will be of great benefit. So do meditate, especially when you don't have enough time. So you recommend meditating at a fixed time? I said, see, we have to create automatism in our practice. That means we should meditate at the same time and the same place daily, whatever that time may be. This must become second nature. It should be so automatic that we never have to think about it. So somebody had asked a question in the group, what is the difference between automatism and automatic? So this is a question for you people also. Difference between automatism and automatic. Because in the first line, he talks about automatism. In the last line, he talks about automatic in practice. Be automatic in practice. Okay. Anyway, just remember this line also. This much becomes second nature. Many times we use this word that this must become second nature. Then you have pondering, you are left pondering. What should be your first nature then? Right? If it's going to be second nature, what should be the first nature then? So just keep this phrase in mind, becoming second nature. Why is this regularity so important? I asked. See how nature is, he said. It has an unfailing rhythm. The sun rises and sets, the seasons turn, the tides rise and recede. All this happens with absolute precision, with absolute rhythm and total regularity. Our lives are also governed by nature's rhythms. When we are in tune with them, we sail through life. Otherwise, it is like swimming against upstream. We struggle. ಎಲ್ಲ youngstersಗೂ we have to teach this. They
Hmm.
are more busy trying to go against the tide. They keep waking up till late in the night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then they want to sleep during the course of the day. And they make this an habit. And that is a very fundamental reason why people lose health. When you are out of tune with nature, it is actually bad for your health. When you start becoming in tune with nature, it's actually good for your health. As simple as that. That's the reason why many of the yoga organizations insist that you have to go to the yoga class at 5:30. Many yoga organizations have class at 5:36 in the morning because that's the best time to do the yoga. The body would have rested. There's nothing much you have done to activate the body in any big activity. You then go for the yoga class, do the yoga. So yoga will be a way in which you are going to wake up the body, so to say. You woken up at the level of the mind. Now you have to wake up the body for the prepare it for the day ahead. So you are going to wake up the body by doing the yoga exercises. Okay. So there are two levels of waking up. You wake up into the mind. You wake up into the body. You can wake up into the mind when you get up out of the bed and you start utilizing the mind. Before you actually start waking up the mind, if you meditate, that's the best time. You have woken up and you are aware that you have woken up. That's it. But the mind is still not active. At that time, you meditate, you will have wonderful results. But once you make the mind active, then you try to meditate. Now you have to pull the back again from the activity and take it to where you want it. Can you see? Once you have awoken, you are aware that you are awake. Once you are awake, then the mind is still not active. There is a phase where the mind is still inactive or slow in its action. At that time, if you meditate, the mind is not gone into any other activity. So it's very easy to turn the direction of the mind inwards in meditation. But if you have already started doing activities at the level of the mind, you started thinking, you started imagining, you started doing various things, what then happens is the mind is already running in that direction. Suppose you have the habit of reading newspaper. So the first thing you do is open the door and then the newspaper is there. You take the newspaper and start going through the newspaper. The mind is already now flowing in the direction of the newspaper. Now, after that, you want to meditate, suppose. So you read the newspaper for 15 minutes and then you want to meditate. Now you see what is happening. The mind is already running in the outward direction. And what are we supposed to do in meditation? Turn the mind inwards. So it will be more of an effort to do it. It will take time. The mind will not immediately come back because you've already restarted its direction. It's like you want to go in the direction of Mysore, but you have actually gone in the opposite direction. Now you want to go back in the direction of Mysore. It takes time. You have to slow down, you have to reverse the vehicle, and then you have to again go in the direction of where you want to go. Can you see? So that's exactly what happens. So there is a phase when we wake up, when we are aware that we have awoken, but we are not yet activated the mind fully. Then there is a next stage where we activate the body also. So best thing to do is first do an activity which is going to allow the mind to meditate very easily because the mind is not yet flowing in the direction. When I say awaken the mind, awakening the mind is making the mind go in the direction of external objects or things in the mind. The best thing to do when you wake up, once you are aware that you are awake, is allow the mind to turn inwards. You are awake naturally, you are aware, and you are turning the mind inwards. Easiest time to meditate and grasp what is happening in meditation. So, meditation should be the first thing that you do once you are awake. Then you are allowing the mind to turn inwards and become awake to the activities behind the mind. And then, with the impact of those activities, you will start the day, the course of the day, activities of the day. And that is a wonderful state to be in. In other words, you've already put a lagav to the mind. You've already put a kind of moderation on the mind. So the mind will not go into immoderation or excessive activity during the course of the day, whatever activity it gets into. because the pull of the inside is already there in the mind. When the mind is brought under the influence of the soul and then allowed to interact with the activities of the world, then the mind is far more controlled, far more moderated, far more balanced in the interactions that you have. Okay? So don't assume that just because you awake in the morning and you are aware that you are awake, the mind is already activated or the body is already activated. No. There are three different stages. Now, from today, we want you to observe this. So, suddenly you wake up, I'm now awake. You become aware, I'm now awake. But don't immediately activate the mind. Okay? Wait for some time. No, this is it's a very wonderful state to be in, where you are awake and you are aware that you are awake, but the mind is still not active, nor the body is active. It's a wonderful state to be in. Now, nobody actually recognizes this phase. Everybody just wakes up, tell me where is the coffee, tell me, give me the newspaper, turn on the television. You do all these things. That phase, no, once you learn to enjoy, so many new learnings come. Even if you don't meditate at that time, you are awake and aware, but you have not got out of the bed. You have not activated the mind nor the body. You will see that so many new learnings come in that particular phase, even if you are just lying on the bed without sitting for meditation. But if you sit for meditation, the results will be far more profound. Okay. So, from today, anyway, you have woken up today and you have already activated the mind. From tomorrow morning, you have to do this exercise. I want you to pick that awareness. Three stages in which we wake up. We are awake and we are aware that we are awake. First stage. Then we activate the mind. In other words, we activate the thoughts in the mind and we activate the external direction of the flow of the mind. Then the third stage, we activate the body into action. Okay. So let me see who is able to grasp this particular state, the first state, being awake and aware, but still the mind and the body being relatively inactive. That state is a very nice state to be in. Okay. So I want you people to grasp it. I have told many of the perceptors to grasp it. They said, we are finding it hard. I don't know. You talk about it so highly. But you remember, I think Gopal Krishna had told you the state where the mind is inactive, the ego is still inactive, the six conditions had given you. We talked about it 3 weeks back. So you are awake, but you are still lying in the bed. You still are keeping your eyes closed. You are aware. The ego is not yet activated. The mind is not yet activated. The body is not yet activated. The samskaras are also not yet activated. But you are just awake and aware into the consciousness. It's a very nice state of consciousness. Then you might wonder, what are you awake to? Are you are awake to your own consciousness. And in that consciousness, the samskaras have not started kicking in. They have not taken hold of the system. Since the samskaras are not taken hold of the system, the ego is also quiet. And this you will experience when you are in a lying down position. Most of the time, what we do, the moment we wake up, if we are not feeling like getting out of the bed, we pull our blanket and again go to sleep. That's what most of the youngsters do. I know. I had gone to see Bharat. What did he do? You awake and then you want to sleep more. You pull the blanket and then go to sleep again. You don't enjoy that phase where you are awake, aware, lying on the bed, closed eyes, mind quiet, body quiet, but you are aware and awake into the consciousness, and the samskaras are also quiet, ego is also quiet. Very nice state to be in. It is under these conditions you find it very easy to also read what is going on in terms of your spiritual journey. It's a very similar thing that Lalaji has given a way of reading your own condition. And all the things I told you now is valid there also. So I have given you, I think, 6 or 8 conditions. If somebody had made note of it, 6 or 8 conditions. You are awake, you are aware, you are still lying on the bed, your eyes is closed, body is not activated, mind is not activated, ego is quiet, samskaras are quiet. Then what are you awake into? You are awake into consciousness. Ah. It is your journey is in consciousness only, no? We keep saying the journey in our system is through consciousness. So if you are awake into consciousness, don't you think you will be able to find out how much you have traveled? You should be able to find out, no? That is when you observe the different points. What is happening in the first point, what is happening in the second point, where exactly it's like the landing site, so to say. Suppose you are progress to the second point, your landing or the starting uh, phase of your day-to-day activity will be the second point. You start your activities from the influence of the second point because that's where your work is occurring, the journey is occurring. So it's a very interesting thing. So other homework for you people is in order to kind of go correlate this learning with how to read the condition, our own condition. Okay, this every Abhyasi should know. And all the things I told you now is valid for that also. Except that when you try to read the condition, you are already awake and then you lie down, close your eyes, bring the attention of your mind on different the chakras and see what you feel there. That's exactly what you do when you try to read your own condition. And I don't think many of the perceptors would have actually taught the Abhyasis how to read their own condition. Right? They hardly go to that kind of discussion because sometimes there is a risk that if the perceptors teach the Abhyasis how to read their own condition, then the Abhyasis will turn back and say, then why do I need you? I can read my own condition. So I don't require you. So from next week, I'm not going to come for sitting. So when you have, what do you say, half-baked knowledge, no, all these accidents can happen. They'll forget why the preceptor is necessary. The basic, I can only do everything. Why should I need you? It's like school, colleges, especially college students, bunking the class, saying to the lecturers, I can read and understand myself. Why should I attend your class? Right? The point is they forget that if they actually attend the class, they get some value addition. Apart from whatever their learnings are, they get a broader perspective to learn. Likewise, the perceptor has a role to play throughout our life. So we should not say that just because we have learned somehow how to read the condition, we don't think that there is any role for the perceptor. So there are so many other things that the perceptor has to do. So I'm just putting a caveat so that you people don't run away from your preceptors. I don't want to get a complaint from your preceptors. I don't know what you taught them with. They've all stopped coming to me now for sitting. They'll be up in arms then. Okay. So anyway, it's a very interesting phase. From tomorrow, try to see. It only takes about a minute or two. Immediately after you wake up, you are aware that you have woken up. How many times you actually grasp that awareness as a separate entity? There are sometimes, sometimes the mind takes a bit of, the body takes a bit of time to get activated. We used to have this, I have had that experience quite a few times. When you are stressed, when we were doing our post-graduation, there are a lot of stress, lot of patients, and the kind of patients that we used to handle was very difficult. So we used to be stressed out actually. So what used to happen was, we used to wake up in the morning then, and then after waking up, you will see that the body is not moving. You are awake, the mind is active, but you want to move the body is not moving. Then you are literally so scared. Arey, what happened? Did I suffer any paralysis? Doctors think of the worst. At least the patients think of something more normal. Doctors think of the worst only. So, oh, have I had a paralysis? What is this going on? Many XPS patients or many people, even normal people experiencing. It's nothing abnormal, so to say. It's just that this is also one condition which gives you an indication that each of these apparatus has to be turned on separately. So the fact that we become aware of being awake is the first switch that we turn on. Then the second switch that we turn on is making the mind active. When I say making the mind active, becoming aware of the samskaras and making the mind go in the direction of samskaras, or becoming aware of the external world and making the mind active to go in the direction of the external world, objects of the external world. This is second phase where you turn on the switch of the mind. Then you have the third phase where you turn on the switch of the body. That is where sometimes it does not automatically get turned on. You cannot move your fingers also. Then you are left wondering. Then we read later on that it's also part of our learnings that there is something called as hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations. Hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations. So, under these conditions, you will not be able to move. Although you want to move, but you cannot move. In other words, the switch which was supposed to automatically turn on the body and activate it has not activated the body. It's like you are turning on the switch. The fan is supposed to turn, but it's not turning on. You turn on the switch, but the fan is not turning. So there's some, what do you say, disconnection between the switch and the fan. Likewise, there's some disconnection between the switch which is turned on inside and the flow of that energy towards the body to activate it. That is what happens. I don't know if any of you have experienced it. Has any one of you experienced it? Gopal Krishna is nodding. I will not expect Gopal Krishna and Bharat to have this experience. Generally, it comes after 25. Under 25, not so common. After 25. So, if at all people who experience this is either Ganeshan or Sudha sister, one of the two. So if you have not had it, again, it's a wonderful experience. It clearly shows the disconnect between the consciousness, the mind, and the body. And it's important not to feel scared of it. Because when we experience it, we feel very scared of it. Or something bad is happening to me. But it's a normal phenomenon where when the mind is stressed out, some samskaras interfere with the flow of that energy towards the body. So then we feel that the body has been activated, but we are not able to move any part of the body. So it is active, the body is turned on at the level of the mind, but at the level of the body itself, the body cannot move, make any movement. So there is disconnection. The switch is turned on, but the body is not able to react because the flow is not there. What is interfering with the flow? The samskaras. That's why I said under stressful condition, you experience this particular state. If you're not feeling stressed, you don't experience it. It's the stress that actually brings on that state. But good that we had this stress because we literally experienced this condition multiple times in actuality. So now we have no confusion. Oh, there are three switches that we turn on. Normally, when we wake up, all the three switches are turned on automatically. So we don't pay attention. From now on, you have to now pay attention to all the three switches. Okay? Activating the awareness of being awake, first switch. Then activating the mind, where you start allowing the mind to go in the direction of the samskaras or external world objects. That's the second switch. The third switch is activating the body and making the body active. When you make the body active, it starts listening to the mind. Then you can give instructions to the body, then that will happen. The body will listen. If you give instructions to the body, but the body is not listening, then there is another psychiatric condition. It is called as conversion disorder. In conversion disorder, the person is so stressed out, the patient is so stressed out that they hold on to certain things in the mind, but it manifests in a different way in the level of the body. They cannot talk about what they are holding on at the level of the mind. So they try to suppress it. But the energy in that is so much that it actually percolates down to the body and it manifests in the body in different symptoms over which they don't have any control. So it is called as um, dissociative disorder or conversion disorder. These are the two terms that we use. Dissociative. In other words, the body and the mind have become dissociated from one another. That is why it is called as dissociative disorder. Now, we don't normally talk about it because we normally think the body and mind are always associated with one another. There is no dissociation, right? We take it for granted that my body and my mind is associated with one another smoothly. But in some mental states, the body and the mind dissociate from one another. And that's called as conversion disorder or dissociative disorder. It used to be very common around 30, 40 years back because there was a lot of things people used to suppress at that time. But now this tendency for suppression has come down. People are more vocal regarding what they feel and what they want to express. So because of that, this phenomenon of dissociation has actually come down a lot. Okay, if you want to anyway, if I give this example, you will have to watch a movie. I'll tell you some other time. I think some break for the movies. After that, I'll tell you. You can watch some movies because that was very commonly shown in many of the movies, the dissociative disorder, without actually using the word dissociation or conversion. So, okay. Anyway, um, let's finish this till the next page at least. Take sleep cycles, for instance. If you go to bed at the same time every night, you will fall asleep as soon as you hit the pillow. You won't even have problems trying to fall asleep. Similarly, if you meditate at the same time every day, meditation will happen by itself. It will happen so naturally, you won't even have to expend effort in order to meditate deeply. Our forerunners also discovered that certain times in the day are especially conducive for meditation. They are referred to as the times of sandhyas or conjunctions. They call them conjunctions because these times are moments when one part of the day joins another. At such moments, nature is supposed to attain a state of balance. By meditating during those periods of balance, we observe that balance into ourselves. It becomes part of our nature, you see. These junctures are the hour before sunrise, noon, and dusk. For me, the noon is the best. It just works like a rocket. So, do you mean to say solar noon or noon according to the clock? I added. I mean noon, said Daji with a laugh. Joshua Pollock is probing so much that he is putting Daji at the spot. So he says, do you mean to say solar noon or noon according to clock? Daji said just noon. So for me, meditation is so much better before sunrise, I said. So this is Joshua Pollock saying. So that is why I encourage people to test these times for themselves, he said. Meditate before sunrise, maybe meditate at noon. Is there a difference? Now compare that to the effect of meditating at a completely different time. You have to find what is best for you. Okay. So now I'll allow you people to find out what is best for you and we'll stop for today.